Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. Please keep your hands in a right position and put your seatbelts on, buckle down. We are coming into landing with the Mad Chatters. If you haven't been driven insane yet, we advise you to vomit into the nearest bath bag, as you will lose your mind completely. Thank you. Ding!
Ding, ding.
Yes, this is the Master of Insanity Loopy Legend and his wonderful co-host.
And lovely assistant, Mr. Wheatley.
I didn't say lovely.
Hi, I'm your fucking lovely assistant.
Yeah, that's what he keeps dreaming and telling himself, ladies and gentlemen.
No. I'm just going to have to go ahead and say it now. Your old muse is dead, buddy. You've got a new muse now, and if you don't start writing pronto, I'm going to tear off with you now. I'm probably not going to go into that. That's probably a bit graphic for the listeners.
I can pretty much imagine so, considering you won't stand a chance.
I don't think you remember how fucking huge I am.
What are you, Goliath to me being David?
No, David actually stood a vague chance against Goliath.
Oh, so you're saying I'm smart now?
No, I'm saying that you don't have a slingshot.
Frats of technicality. Mm-hmm. Alright, how about a rocket launcher?
I feel that David and Goliath would have been a slightly different metaphoric story if Davy had had a rocket launcher.
Yeah, kaboom. Doesn't need to be that fearless.
But the simple fact of the matter is that you wouldn't have one anyway because you play a scout, and I'm pretty sure if the scout ever actually tried to fire a rocket launcher, he would be blasted into the sun by the recoil.
Oh, well, if we're going to play by those rules, I've got a baseball bat and a baseball.
Congratulations! I've got a dead ringer and an ambassador.
Baseball bat and ball, doing. You get stunned, doing.
It doesn't count if I have the dead ringer out, buddy. You can stun me all you like. Drop a fake corpse, disappear, go off somewhere else. While you're scrabbling around for your ball trying to figure out where it is, bullet through the brain.
But I brought a bag of baseballs.
You don't have a bag of baseballs. That doesn't exist.
Yes, I do. I have a bag of baseballs. It's a new item that's coming out. It's called Bag of Baseballs.
Oh, well, in that case, I have a coat full of dead ringers.
You're not going to give up, are you?
Nope.
You suck.
That's the whole point of being a spy, is you don't give up.
Well, I'll just run away. Whoop, 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 whoop.
Your deadly skill is jogging. Mine is murdering people.
Yes, and the person who's trying to get half a word in is our special guest star this week, Mr. Evergreen.
Gentlemen.
Gentlemen.
I think there will be a lot of collateral damage in this fight, so if you please, I will be on my way.
Yes, no baseballs were harmed in the making of this story.
I believe that Mr. Evergreen is playing the lesser-known 10th class, the lawyer, who has to clean up after the two teams.
Indeed. And you know what? Every time I walk on the street, somebody always wants to hit me with a car and run me over.
$20 says that's the French spy.
Oh, my Lord. I was saying the other day, I was watching Simpsons clips on YouTube, and there was one of them I watched from the episode where Homer gets hired by Hank Scorpio, and I'm just in there thinking, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is most Team Fortress 2 players after they've been fighting against a really annoying spy. Which is when Homer's walking out of Scorpio's office, and Scorpio goes, "Oh, by the way, Homer, which is your least favorite country, Italy or France?" France. Nobody ever says Italy.
Well, no wonder the dead ringer is always useful for someone like me.
Anyway, because we're only doing this 3 days after our last podcast, and we're still, in a sense, getting back to normality a little bit with all the stuff that's been going on, so we don't have much news this week, but the highlights for this week is the sound project I announced last week has gotten overwhelming response. I mean, I'm looking at my folder full of sound things, and so far I've gotten sound packs from nearly 5 hails, and this is including any work I've done myself. So if you have sound effects for Hal, please PM me on the forums. All the details are on the front page, but this is turning into some really good stuff, and I've been showing a few people on TeamSpeak and whatnot, and I got to say this, I have received, and I'm not going to say from who, just not to spoil it just yet, some epic Dick Soup Can Last Man Standing music.
What kind of music?
Let's just put it to you this way. If you could take bagpipes to another level, it would be this.
Oh my word. I like where this is going.
I'll show you. Actually, I'll. 1 second. Here you go. I'll link it through to you on Skype now. You can have a little listen, and you can have a thing later. But don't share this with anyone because it's supposed to be a surprise. But I'll give you guys anyway.
Oh, by the way, I thought I would let you know just now. There was actually a little conversation that took place between me and a whole bunch of other people on one of the servers when I was playing on there. We were playing, and I had Pyrovision on, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, you know what would be really cool? Pyrovision versions of various lines from the different bosses. And I was actually considering, I know it'd probably be, like, incredibly difficult and inconvenient to implement, so it'd probably just be something done for fun, for people who want to use Pyrovision all the time, but to actually have, like, a Pyrovision version of each of the different bosses. I mean, let's face it, in all complete honesty, the Cuddly Heavy is basically just Pyrovision incarnate anyway. But some of those would be absolutely classic if you could actually get Pyrovision versions of the Hail bosses.
Yeah, who I want to see Pyrovision of?
What?
Dr. Octagonopus.
Again, Dr. Octagonopus to me is just Pyrovision already. Unless he shoots a rainbow out of his mouth.
So what you're trying to do is to make a Pyrovision session? Because you see, you probably just want to make every one of them just do a squeaky voice, like Dr. Octopus might be, Dr. Octopus.
No, not necessarily like that. I'm talking, well, it would be nice to have, actual physical changes, but yeah, mostly that, but also like music, Like, instead of having the dramatic dun, 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 wah, 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 instead of having that for the final boss music, just have, this image of Saxton Hale, this huge burly man bearing down on the final pyro, and in the background it's going, sunshine, lollipops and rainbows, everything.
Oh, yeah!
All that kind of stuff. Or, like the Teletubbies theme or something like that.
Oh, no, not that one. Please, not that one. I hate the Teletubbies.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I think that would be more destructive for the people trying to kill Hale because their brain probably melts.
Yeah. Oh man! And the other one I want to have is any boss which summons multiple minions. Like, just have the last bit, and you say you get up to the Candy Scouts or whatever. In fact, the Candyman. Replace the Candyman's the song if you have Pyrovision on. Replace it with the Willy Wonka version of the Candyman song. The Candyman can. The Candyman can.
I was like thinking, would you change it to Raining Cats and Dogs?
No. But no, I want the final boss music for the Candyman or possibly Gangplank or something when it's going there to be the Raggy Dolls theme.
No, I got a better idea for Gangplank. Mm-hmm. I got cabin fever! I got it too! We all got cabin fever!
I don't really see how that fits into Pyrovision. That's a bit too realistic.
Indeed.
I think if you're gonna have, if you need to have something, I mean, because let's face it, Yaha Fiddly Dee, You Are a Pirate, which is a song from a kids show, is already pretty much on the money. But
I was talking about the Last Man Standing music.
Right.
I mean, the Muppet version of Cabin Fever. I got cabin fever, you're driving me insane.
But that's the thing, though. You can't have references to insanity because the pyro doesn't realize they're insane. They think that everything's perfectly fine and dandy in their little world.
Oh, it has to be crazy. Good enough.
So everything is Sesame Street to Pyro.
I think I figured out something about you just now, Wheatley.
Oh?
I finally figured out why you wear a gas mask as Umbrella Man.
I don't really think you're ever actually going to know the real reason for that, but I assume that this is a precursor to some kind of hilarious joke, so I'll go with it.
You'll go with it? Alright, this is how you do your Mary Poppins trick. Anytime you put the gas mask on, you can fill up your umbrella with enough gas to fly upwards. It makes sense to you.
Hold on.
Gas doesn't rise. It's hot air that rises. The reason the gas works is because you ignite it with a flame and it burns and generates more heat so that you can continue to fly upwards. Gas itself is actually quite heavy, which is
why I said it makes sense to you.
Which is why if there's gas leaking in a room, you'll notice by getting lower down in the room, and the gas gradually rises because it fills up the room like a cup.
Okay, Mr. Logical, this is the last time I use two mechanics on you, because obviously you don't understand the concept of two mechanics.
Beg pardon?
Never mind. Anyway, moving right along.
Okay.
The last bit of news we have this week is there's been an interesting discussion on the forums. Have you checked out the forums recently? Seen the man point system thing on the forums?
I took a look at the man point system, and it seems pretty logical to me. I mean, it's a fun little gimmick, but it'd be nice if it could actually be implemented in some way.
Well, Leon has. There's no guarantees, but Leon has expressed interest in it, which could be promising.
Now, one thing about a system is the tunnel vision of Hell, because I don't really recall Hell having tunnel vision. That is very, being at a disadvantage for him. Most of the time, it's the player who's having tunnel vision that's got caught off guard and die. Hell, not so much.
Well, there's actually one I'm happy about that might be implemented. We might be having one called Death by a Chicken.
Yeah,
and I'll give you a guess as to what...
Lose rage.
Exactly. You lose 25 man points for getting killed by a Scootaloo's raid. Yeah. Come on. You're not exactly manly if you get killed by a flying chicken who's flying backwards, are you? That's not manly, is it?
No. And not to mention that the team accompanying it is, Nyan Cat. Yeah, that is
Which I'm going to be so replacing when I do my set of music. Yes.
Very humiliating.
Anyway, speaking of music, have you had a chance to have a little listen to that Last Man Standing music for Dick Soupcam?
No, I have not. I'm actually about to listen to it now. I shall mute the microphone. Yeah.
Alright, Well, in the meantime, we'll get to, the weekly rant's your one. Oh, great, so I've got to kill time for 45 seconds. I got nothing. Well, alright. Yeah, but just in regards to the man point system, if you have suggestions for this, I mean, it's probably not going to become anything that gives you stats or benefits to the gameplay in any way. Just a fun little gimmicky thing. So if you think you've got a good idea for a way Hale or players can gain and or lose man points, head on over to the forums, find the post in the TF2 section, and submit your ideas for why people should gain and or lose man points. And if anyone says, and I repeat, if anyone claims that killing Scoots with 200% rage when you're Saxon Hale is a viable way to be manly, it's not.
I'm going to have to agree with you on that one, just because of, the whole implication of it. The simple fact is, you don't need to use the rage to kill the Scouts and be called manly. Beating Scouts to death in any capacity is a worthwhile pastime, and you are automatically manly for doing so, regardless of how you're doing it. So don't waste your rage on the Scouts when you can just kill them anyway.
Well, the reason I say this is because when Hale 200%, any Scoots in the area are automatically scared.
I'm well aware.
Which means they run at 25% normal speed. They can't jump. They can't use weapons, and literally it's an instant kill on Scouts. They can't. If you're close enough when you activate it, they can't get away. Not even I can do it. And to be honest, if that's the resort you have to go to kill a Scoot, then you're not manly. You don't deserve man points. You deserve to lose man points for doing it.
Yeah, but it's a bit of in my opinion, that's a bit like the pot calling the kettle black. Playing the class whose entire function in Saxton Hale mode is running away, accusing the boss of not being manly.
Hey, I don't play my class like that. I get in Hale's face all the time.
Mm-hmm. That's probably why you can't get away when he rages at you.
Oh, speaking of calling the kettle black, yeah, talk about the spy disappearing or using a dead ringer. Here, you're not.
But!
No buts about it. If I run away and you go into the
it's no different, you bloody chicken.
You know what
well, gentlemen, how about the fact that Hell rage on the final pyro?
Yeah, that's already accounted for in the man point system. You lose man points for doing that.
Now excuse me a second, Evergreen. I've got to sort this chicken here out. A spy is just as chicken as a Scoot running away.
I completely agree. In Saxton Hale mode, a spy is incredibly irritating. But you can't use that argument on me because I play Gangplank, who's a medic.
Yeah, you hide behind a heavy.
I don't hide behind shit. You
hide behind a heavy.
Plenty of videos out there of me running up and bashing the boss with my Ubersaw, saying, "Oh, you can talk the talk, but can you walk the walk, you prancy Nancy?"
Same way about me. How often do I run towards Hale instead of away from him? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I thought.
I tend to see how the most integral part of keeping a team alive, the medic, who is there entirely to sacrifice himself to support other classes, who is almost defenseless against Hale, who can't outrun him and can't outfight him and has no way of knocking him back, is in any way cowardly when he's there to keep everyone else alive. Your argument is invalid.
You've got a shield.
In fact, my...
Your argument just became invalid.
No, it didn't.
Well,
you have rechargeable bonk energy drink.
I don't use bonk, I use milk.
You also have a pair of legs that never run out that allow you to run away. Seriously, I put this question to the viewers now. Do you honestly think, that the scout is more manly than the medic in Saxton Hale mode? I put that to you, listeners.
Yep, definitely 100%. Especially when it's a pony.
Hey, that's right. You have a mimic too, you wanker.
But you know what? You know what? By this logic, then Demo Man would be coward too, because every tree has
the shield thing. But honestly, you have to hit the boss quite a few times for that shield to get engaged, and I don't think anyone's ever going to accuse a Demo Knight in Hale mode of being unmanly.
No doubt.
Yeah,
but this is going by Loopy Legends logic.
But one thing, I think we can all agree on one thing: the most chickenest class out of everyone in Hale is the sniper.
I disagree completely. Depends on the map. I mean, sure, in Crevice, a sniper is incredibly unmanly because he's just more irritating than anything else. But there are certain maps that a sniper is almost completely ineffectual. He has very little way of actually defending himself against a boss.
All the knockback from an SMG.
Yeah, well, if you're dumb enough to actually leap towards a sniper, sure.
Well, I have seen quite a fair share of stray snipers. Those that, just charge ahead with their piss and just keep throwing at Hale. See, that really, really helped the team, because every time Hale got piss on, he just gave mini crits.
And I will say, I think that in all truthfulness, the most manly class to play as in Hale mode is the heavy. Because if you don't have a medic, you are so boned.
Yeah, good point. I'll pay that one. I definitely pay that one. Or the Demo Knight can be just manly. If you don't have a medic, you're kind of screwed without him too, right?
Well, if you have the medic with the Demo Knight, then he's basically free heals until you get your shield.
That's definitely true, but I don't know, but I think they're going to be nerfing the medic Demo Knight combo somehow.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Possibly. Maybe if you have the sword equipped, then, you can't be made invulnerable. You get put on that list of classes like the Scout who can't be made invincible just by healing.
Or Spy.
But, moving along from the man-pod system, shall I get into my weekly rant?
Yeah, I've been wondering what you got typed. You've only got a few words typed, but I wonder what this is all about, so yeah, go on.
Okay, I'll make this very, very much blunt. And this is like trying to use a blow dryer to stop a tsunami. So it's really kind of pointless, but it's just one of my pet peeves. And if I can make even one person reconsider why they do things, then hopefully I will have made an impact on this one. Now, don't be thrown off by the title of this week's rant, which is mostly going to be ad-libbed, by the way. The title of this week's rant is "Shut the Fuck Up About Justin Bieber and Others." Now, allow me to explain. Here is the thing. I have heard Justin Bieber's music. It is crap. Like, to me, it is awful. I was forced to go to a dear friend's birthday party quite recently. She's lovely. Her whole family is lovely. She's quite a bit younger than me, and she and her friends are fans of Justin Bieber. That's their life choice. If in my opinion, if I'm sitting in their room and I hear that ear-bleeding music coming on and I just go, oh God, why? But, that's just because I don't happen to like the music. Now, to the best of my knowledge, Justin Bieber hasn't strangled any kittens to death. He hasn't fucked your mother. He hasn't tried to club baby seals with, skin torn from a dead nun. He's not a bad person. Hate his music if you must. Hate it all you like. It's tripe. He's someone who was plucked off YouTube and gained stardom. Be envious if you will, but don't hate Justin Bieber. Don't hate death upon the guy. And this goes to anybody else, like Rebecca Black from that bloody Friday video or whatever it was. These people aren't bad people. You saying things like, oh, I hate this guy. I wish he'd die. I wish he'd get cancer in his ass and bleed out of his face hole. No, you're a psycho. You're a horrible, horrible person for wanting to inflict pain upon somebody you've never met. For the simple fact that you might you might be annoyed by him. That's not a reason to hate him. You might be jealous of the fact that he's gotten such insane money and fame and wealth with relatively little effort and very little talent. Be envious, if you will. Do not hate the man. You don't know Justin Bieber. You don't know Rebecca Black. You don't know any of these people. If they were criminals, had they murdered somebody, yes, hate them by all means. They're terrible, terrible people who need to be punished in some way. But they're usually being punished by the law, which is far more important than you, something that people tend to forget. The simple fact is this. Hate a song. Hate an art. I'm not the biggest fan of Eminem, but I like some of his music, I question the man, but he's not a bad person. I don't hate him. It's basically, I can summarize it with what I used to say to people whenever they got all weirded out or uptight about the whole Michael Jackson fiasco, Say what you like about his personal life, the man makes damn good music. The thing applies in reverse. Just because somebody's music is garbage and tripe, it doesn't give you an excuse to hate them for it. Get help. You have issues. If you sit there in your room looking at pictures of Justin Bieber holding a knife and going, oh, I hate that guy. I'm going to go on YouTube and talk about how much I hate that guy. You are a wanker. And that is the end of my weekly rant.
Now, this would normally be the part where I go, who's Justin Bieber? But lucky for you, I know who Justin Bieber is this time.
I think that if you didn't know who Justin Bieber is, the entire internet would laugh.
Lucky for me, I know someone as famous as Justin Bieber. I don't like his music, but doesn't mean I hate the guy. I just ignore his music, really.
Pretty much. That's pretty much the entire point of my rant, is that people, just remember, words mean shit. Don't fling around words you don't understand. And this touches on a subject, I won't go into it again, but this touches on a subject we had a few weeks ago, with people who renamed guns in Team Fortress 2 stuff like the rape launcher. Not a word you want to be using lightly. Say that shit to people in the real world, and you will never, ever get looked at the same way again. Seriously. Nope. Think before you blabber from your face hole. Thank you.
Is it alright if I actually name my Liberty launcher the Pinkie Pie's Party Cannon?
No skin off my back.
Actually, just a quick mention while you're on names. I actually had especially for Hail Mode, I renamed my, I got like a strange rain blower, and I renamed it the Party Announcer. I'm like, Pinkie Pie has invited you to a party. You are officially the guest of honor.
Make sure you wear that rainbow he just covered you in.
Yeah, you could say that in a way.
Most of my renaming that was done during the Steam Summer Sale, because I bought a ton of name tags and description tags, and a lot of purple paint as well, because it was all being sold for like $1, which is awesome. But most of the stuff that I renamed, with the exception of, a knife or two, was mostly references to the Bastion game, which I was a huge fan of. And in particular, I felt that the name and description that I gave to the Machina was quite apt, in my humble opinion, because, a lot of people get a little bit annoyed when people are using the Machina constantly, and, it's like, but they all know that it's a potent weapon. And Oh, give me 1 second.
I got a question. Did you actually ponify any of your items?
Did I ponify it? No. The only thing that even came close was when I renamed my Balloonicorn, but I still didn't call it anything pony related. I just called it His Noble Steed. So that whenever I kill somebody, the kill feed icon comes up and says, "Killed by Sir Wheatley plus His Noble Steed." And same thing goes with the Birdman of Aberdeen, the Demo Man's parrot, which I renamed to His Lovely Assistant. And I haven't decided what I'm going to call the other ones yet, but I'm considering getting my getting my pocket medic and renaming it A Small Itching Feeling. But anyway, point is, I renamed my strange machina the Breaching Bullet, and the description is, "Some frowned on this device, but no one denied its effectiveness."
No doubt.
So
And
you get a double kill.
Oh, good times. But there was also the Pyro's Power Jack, which I renamed to the Kale Hammer, and gave the description: "The power of the calamity ain't well understood, but a hammer sure is." Anyway.
Damn good kid he was.
I love that man's voice. Love it so much. Anyway, your turn. Go ahead with your inside gaming.
Yeah, I think this is the one people have been waiting for, because we did mention this last week. For those of you who don't know yet, or either deaf, dumb, or don't tune in, me and Evergreen, for at least the past 8 months, have been working on a game. Now, we're not going to go into this game too much, because it's our little project. We'll mention it here and there, but this week's Inside Gaming is, I've actually had a lot of people asking, what's it like to make a game? What's it like to design a game? So this is why we've got our special guest star Evergreen this week, because me and him do just that. We're designing a game.
Gentlemen.
Okay, you got to stop with the lawyer thing. Come on. Show me how it's done, Wheatley.
What?
Show me how it's done.
Gentlemen.
I rest my case.
Mentorchin.
Yeah, whatever. So, instead of going into a big review or a big thing, I thought I'd leave the floor open for Evergreen to explain a few things. So, my specialty in game design is mainly the story, but this guy here is the designer. So, I thought, Evergreen, what's it like to design a game in a bit of a simple concept?
Well, to design a game is pretty much like it's just like any other kind of game that you used to play in the past. But now, since you have a digital media to represent it, it gets more complex and it's more meaningful in many ways. So what you probably want to think when you design a game is, how do I want to play this? And how should my friends or whoever wants to play with me wants to play this in order to have fun? I mean, isn't that what gaming about? To actually have fun, firstly.
Sure. And I think a lot of people forget that when they play games, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah.
So, designing a game, I mean, I'll be honest, I've been in the writing industry for a better part of 8 years now, and, I've seen it before. People like, oh, I've got this great idea for a game. I've spent 10 minutes writing down a few notes. I've drawn a little picture and I've written a diagram of some of the rough game mechanics. How would you like to make the game for me? I'll sit back and watch you do all the work, and then it's my game.
Yeah, that I have seen that like a lot of time for all those years. I mean, probably the earliest incident that I saw I was 16. And it's actually started with me. I used to have that same idea of, hey, you know what? I like this. I like doing this. And I think I can gain pretty much what you call quick fortune or quick fame by doing this. And, well, maybe it's just me, but a generalized idea is that maybe a lot of us used to have this silly idea of making something great in a very short amount of time, disregarding the fact that all that you have seen take a lot of effort and time and patience. A lot of us back then don't have patience, and so did I. But luckily, I learned.
So these days, when you go through and you design your game, you need an actual team of people. So it depends on what game you're designing. But let's use our example. Like for the case of our game, we're making a simple single-player RPG. So like we need like programmers to do a lot of the programming. You need like writers to do the story, people who are talented in music and sound effects to do all the sound and music. You need concept artists to draw the world. It's not just a one-man job over a few weeks. Oh, I got a week off, I'll make a game. It just doesn't work like that, does it?
No, well, because of how it is now. It's not like it's the 1980s anymore. When it's actually back then, a one-man team can actually make a game. Because of how simple it was back then. But now, look at how much it has changed. Visual-wise, audio-wise, mechanics-wise. You need everyone to actually contribute. Otherwise, sure, you go ahead, make your own game. But depend on the scale that you're trying to go for. It can range from probably a year or so until maybe like 20 years by yourself. Because, I mean, seriously, how can you do it by yourself with all of this?
Yeah, that's like if all you're doing is making like a little 2D. I mean, have you played any of those little 2D side scrollers Wheatley, that have like 1 or 2 or 3 levels?
Yeah,
that was pretty much my entire childhood, man.
Games like that these days, with all the technology we've got, games like that take no longer than an hour to finish, can probably be made by one person in about a month. So if you want to make a quick if you want to make a quick game like that, you can probably do it by yourself in a month if you've got the right skills and programs. But to make anything halfway decent, you're going to need a team of people, you're going to need to be organised, and you're going to, have to put in the time, the long road to do it, because it just doesn't happen overnight these days.
I'm going to have to interject there and say, I feel the choice of words of halfway decent could probably be changed a little bit better, because I've played games that lasted 10 minutes that were more than awesome. Well, I played the game Robot Dinosaurs That Shoot Beams When They Roar, which takes about 5 minutes to complete as one of the funnest games I've played in a while.
Let me rephrase that. Instead of saying halfway decent, let me rephrase that. Games, I wouldn't say halfway decent, but games that...
Of length and substance.
Of big production values.
Yeah, of length and substance.
Yeah. So like games that have big fancy graphics, good soundtracks, epic adventures to go on, or heaps of stages, or that take quite a few hours to finish, and visually and stunningly look good, and have complicated mechanics.
Indeed,
I mean,
and this is all about scale. Like I said before, depends on the scale you go for. You can probably finish this in a very short time, or it can take you your whole lifetime. If it's by yourself, that is.
So, what tips would you offer people who are looking to get into this, if anything?
If anything, first thing first, determine what you really like about video games. To take an out-of-body experience is what I mean. Don't just play. Sure, you enjoy it, you love it, but do you understand why you love it? You need to start looking at the game from a perspective of the designer too, of someone who thinks, how to actually make a mechanics like this. That's gonna make people want to play and enjoy playing it until the end. And keep doing, in fact, keep doing it with every games you play. Now you probably won't have a lot of time to just play them all and learn, remember everything, but do choose the few key games that get you into gaming and learn it by heart, because that is probably first inspiration, secondly the very valuable lessons that you can learn before you actually take on serious higher education where they can actually train you for real. This is like, pre-university.
Another question. If people are going to get into this, they're obviously going to need to be like skilled at something. They're going to need to be a good programmer, good writer, good artist. Would you recommend that they spread out and be decent at all of them, or try and specialize in one area?
That depends on...
At least to start with. I mean, if someone spent their whole life doing this, they could be a good programmer, a wonderful artist, and an amazing writer. But to start out with,
to start out with is also a same problem, but it's easier to answer here. It's best that to start out with first. Choose the skill that you want to work with, because you cannot really force yourself to get into things that you don't like. If you don't like music composition, why would you try to be a musician? Or if you don't like programming, why you try to be in development? Or if you don't like drawing, why you try to be a concept artist or designers? That is for your main skill. On the other side, you still need to understand game mechanics as a whole and the essence of game design development. So that other hand is where what I said before came into hand. If you have played games, the games you like, the key games that you like, the essence of it, the mechanics of it that you like, learn them carefully and make sure that you learn them by heart. Because once you get your skill, your primary skill along, as you get it along well, you can start to participate in making those mechanics that you like become a reality. That will be an easier way than trying to encompass everything. Especially if you don't know what you're doing, or if you have a short.
Very true.
Oh my God!
What?
Oh, I've been looking up various documents on game design and everything, seeing if there's anything halfway relevant or interesting that one could ask, just as an impromptu question.
Yep.
And one guy is talking here, and it's just the most depressing comment I've ever seen. There's some guy going, "Oh man, I wish so hard. I wish upon the stars above that I could get into game design. That would be amazing." And the person below them just pointed out, according to astronomy, when you wish upon a star, you're actually a few million years late. That star is dead, just like your dreams.
Anyway.
God.
That's true. That is true.
Moving on. Probably the last thing we'll probably ask. It's probably advisable that you don't start off doing your own project, but joining an existing project or join another team of gamers to start off with, because because some of those guys have probably been there, done that, and if you're going to make a fan, that's one of the reasons we're making a fan-made project. Yes, it is a My Little Pony game. Yes, it is a nice RPG game, but that's because that's what we like. But if you're into a show, or you've seen, I want to make something like TF2, or I want to make something like Call of Duty, and try searching the internet and find another group of people that are doing that, and see if you can get in touch with them, and see if you can offer whatever skills you'd like to start specializing in. If you're only learning how to draw, and you join a team that's still in the very early stages, I'm pretty sure they're not going to turn down your artwork, because chances are, if they're programmers and musicians, you can draw better than them. So it's a good way to get yourself some experience and some practice at the same time. And where would you? Is there any websites you know of that might be a good place to start for people that are getting into game design at all?
Actually, I do. For a very dedicated person that wish to learn game design or development, let me bring it up right here.
Yeah, I'm just typing in the document now. I'll add this website to the document, because so this link will be in the Google Documents for you. So if you wish to get started, it couldn't hurt, or if you at least want to find out more about it, it couldn't hurt to check out this website, whatever it is.
Okay, the very first one I recommend is Sloperama.
Sloperama?
Yep, Sloperama. This is the site of a very, very experienced game designer, and he actually developed too. The guy's name is Tom Skipper. He's a very, very experienced one. He's been in the industry for probably more than 20 years, and has his place in various brand companies. He used to work for Konami. He used to work for Capcom. In fact, he specialized in Japanese industry mostly, and then he moved on to Western later. And he also is quite a big name in the International Game Development Association. This site here talks about all his past work, how he came to be a game designer, and what does it take to be like it. And also, he has a dedicated zone called a game design zone, where he has lessons in numbers. He has 73 lessons in total about
wow.
Yes, about how to start, how to think and how to plan to be a game designer or developer or anything game related.
I'm pretty sure that if you start typing in stuff in Google or YouTube, you'll start finding stuff soon enough, won't you? If you're dedicated enough, you'll find it.
That's
but
for sure.
I do have to ask one point on this. Wheatley, have you ever been involved in anything like this before?
What?
Probably on a story point of view, because that's what you specialize in, story writing, like myself.
What, game design?
Yeah.
Well, no, I've never been involved directly in any actual kind of game design, but I have been included in a game as an Easter egg. That was quite nice.
An Easter egg?
You do know what Easter egg means, right?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Like, for example, if you're playing Skyrim and there's a scene where you can find, there's a reference to Star Wars Empire Strikes Back where there's a skeleton half frozen in the ceiling who's been partially eaten, and then there's a sword lying underneath him, which is a reference to Luke and the Wampa and everything. That's an Easter egg. It's basically something hidden in the game that you can find that is a reference to something else that isn't specifically just meant to be part entirely from the game world.
Have you been referencing like that?
And specifically, there was a role-playing game, a freeware thing that was created some time ago, about a year and a half or so. And I was friends with the person who was making the game at the time, and they threw in Umbrella Man as an Easter egg character where she made a sprite of him and put him in various parts of the city that you wouldn't normally visit, like... there's the main areas, but if you go exploring up like side streets that ultimately lead nowhere, there's like dozens and dozens of the things that are just dead ends. But if you go up all of them in each city or in each various area that you visit, there'll be a hidden Umbrella Man somewhere. You go up and talk to him. His conversation is just ... and then he disappears into thin air. And if you find all of them, then a secret shop will open up somewhere where you can buy really, really stupidly overpowered items.
That kind of reminds me of The Binding of Isaac.
Yes!
Oh, no!
You're my new favorite person!
I hate you now, Evergreen. Oh, you had to get him started on that game. Did you? Oh, you did that on
That's beautiful, man. I love that game so much. But yes, please, go on.
Well... Okay. How should I go on from here?
Okay, moving right along.
I'm just going to assume that what you were referring to there when you were talking about the Binding of Isaac is the possibility of getting into the deal with the devil runes, where you can buy stupidly overpowered items.
Yes, that is what I'm referring to, actually.
Excellent.
Why me?
No, I'll let you two continue having your little discussion there, and I'll keep posting funny pictures to you in the comment section.
Yeah, well, in the meantime, we only got one last thing to say. We are actually looking for a little help in our game, so if you're actually in the art specialization, you think you can do good concept art, and you also like ponies, because obviously it's a pony game, swing me a PM on the forums, or, get in contact with me somehow. Because because we are in dire need of concept artists and a few programmers too, aren't we?
Yeah, and in addition to concept artists, it would be great if we can have C++ specialized programmers, if possible. And also, anyone who's doing 3D assets, modelers, animators, or environmental assets, those would be a great help to us.
Yeah. So if you specialize in any of those areas and you like ponies, this might be your chance to get into the gaming industry. You never know. This is only a fan-made game, but, some of the greatest game designers come out of fan-made games, because what you can do is you can show off your game, and I'll be honest with you, I know a lot of, they're probably the easiest way to describing it is gaming talent scouts, in a way. They often check fan-made projects to see if it's good or not, and they pluck people from the team for their own needs. So you never know where it might take you. So if you think you're up for it, give us a call. So it could be interesting. Anyway, I think we've got no emails this week because I've only had 3 days since our last podcast. So I wouldn't expect any emails. So sorry to those of you who email in between now and Friday. But the last session, and it's one Wheatley's been having a bit of a go at, is Source Filmmaker, right?
Yes, indeed. So much potential, so much awesomeness. And yet I still can't figure out how to make the damn thing render in higher quality.
Well, it's a bit of a tricky program. I haven't even downloaded it to have a look at it yet, really. So
it's not working the actual program that I find difficult. That's easy enough. Like, I can make the animations, I can put the sounds in. It's the rendering. It's the end of the line. I've seen people posting videos on YouTube of, like, hyper high quality 7-second videos. And they're like, this thing took me an hour and a half to render these 7 seconds. And I'm sitting there thinking, God, I've made a video that's a minute and a half, and it took me about 7 minutes to actually render this. So either my computer is absolutely god tier, or, more likely, since the quality isn't nearly as high as their videos, I can't figure out how to make my thing render in that high quality. And I'm like, but it's so much potential to be had, but so yeah.
Have you had yourself a go at Source Filmmaker Evergreen?
Well, I only heard about it, and I actually checked on various videos made by it. And to be frank, I'm really, really impressed. Because unlike machinimas made in, say, Gary's Mod, Source Filmmaker actually embedded most of the post-processing effects into the machinima made by it. And it just turns out beautiful.
Absolutely.
I think Source Filmmaker is going to be the biggest killer of Gary's Mod videos, eh?
Well, that we wouldn't know. We wouldn't be sure, because, see, as great as Source Filmmaker is, Gary's Mod is quite a different animal entirely. It's intended to be a scriptable modding tools that you can play with. Valve's Source Filmmaker, on the other hand, is especially made so that those people, now their aim at those people who use Gary's Mod to make machinima. This will pretty much, I think, will revolutionize machinima on the Source side, and this will get everyone hyped. The question is, will there be any good directors that can make a good movie out of it?
That's true.
Yeah, I should interject at this moment and just point out, in my own personal opinion, some other people, you may disagree, but in my humble opinion, remaking Meet the Heavy and Meet the Engineer for the 18 millionth time, or taking existing cartoon clips from other comedians who are funnier than you and making the engineer say it or whatever, does not make you a good director. It makes you a good one-off joke slapstick comedian leeching off the success of other people.
But would you recommend Source Filmmaker to anyone, Wheatley?
I would recommend it to anyone who is willing to put in the time and effort to master the tool. Anybody who has ever thought to themselves, man, I'd really like to make this short film idea that I have in my head, but I don't have access to a camera in real life, or, special effects, or locations, or actors, or any of that stuff. You can make a mock-up version of it for yourself in Source Filmmaker just to see how it would come out. And then if you're really determined, then you can take it to somebody else and say, hey, I've got this idea for a film that I want to put together. Here's a basic mock-up of my idea. This is what I'm kind of imagining in my head. All I need is, like, say, people to get it done, or, a camera or something that I could borrow, or something along those lines. And they like me like, yes, I like where this is going. But that's just an extremely best-case scenario. Ultimately, I would recommend it mostly to artsy types and people with a lot of patience. If you're looking to spend 10 minutes on a program and create something that will get you billions of views on YouTube, fuck off back to Gary.
That is a really good idea. And also, I think if anyone is interested in 3D animation and want to get into it, this could be a good start too. Because an easy start, if I can say, because Source Filmmaker already took care of most of what is making it really, really, really hard and effort.
The rendering and modeling.
Yeah. It can be a really good start for it. Now, one point I want to make now that I almost forgot is that, as I said before, this might not actually defeat or render Gary's Mod completely obsolete, is because stylistic-wise, do you remember, like, the Gary's Mod Idiot Box series by That's Bullshit?
There's things that you can do in Gary's Mod that you just cannot do in Source Filmmaker.
Yes, you cannot.
There are certain things, like, because, again, Source Filmmaker is a very smooth program. Like, it's designed that way. And you probably could painstakingly recreate some of the spasms and other things that you can do in Garry's Mod. But the simple fact is that there are certain types of animation done in Garry's Mod that just work. For the type of videos that they are hilarious. Like, I would much rather see the Gmod Idiot Box stuff done in Gmod than done with super smooth animation from Source Filmmaker. No, keep it in Garry's Mod. That shit is funny.
Yeah, the one thing I like that tends to be a normal thing I see in lots of Gary Mod's videos is when, like, ponies, TF2 characters, whatever characters are being portrayed, go flying across the screen, and instead of, like, just walking onto the screen, they fly across the screen, hit the wall, then amazingly they just get up again.
Yeah, they're always good.
I say it all the time, and it's just like, there must be a thing in Garry's Mod that's like an automatic tool that does that, because I see it so much.
What, people flying across the wall and hitting something and then getting up?
Yeah.
No, that's just them picking up the ragdoll with the physics gun, putting a camera in place, hitting record, and then flinging with the physics gun and watching the ragdoll go whoosh, and hit the wall and then fall down to the ground. You'll see a lot of outtake videos where people will be trying to aim in a specific place, and you'll just see a little montage during the credits of them like flinging and the ragdoll going in the complete wrong direction.
Yeah.
They're usually quite good.
Oh, so that explains what I've always wondered how they do. I've never used Garry's Mod before, but I know about it. So is that what they do, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, and the
really
skeletal...
need to actually get into some of these. You'd like them.
I'm actually into Sony Vegas Pro, which is what I'm getting into at the moment. I'm really getting into that quite a bit. I enjoy.
I will say one thing though, in fairness. Source Filmmaker does have one advantage over Garry's Mod in, not in terms of actual filmmaking, but in terms of just using, like, if you're only intending to use Team Fortress 2 models, posing is so much easier in Source Filmmaker. I'm going to show you a picture here. You could not make this picture look this good with nearly as much ease in Garry's Mod. Take a look at that picture I just linked to you too. That looks really good, and you wouldn't be able to make that in Garry's Mod with any kind of ease.
No, you wouldn't.
No, this is... Yeah.
And trust it to be a spy kicking butt. That's always the pictures you show.
Well, it's just, I'm going through the list of things. While we've been chatting here, I've been slowly filtering through my DeviantArt inbox to try and clear some of the stuff out. But, yeah, that one just happened to pop up, and it was relevant to the conversation, so, yeah.
Oh, so that's what you do when you're on the podcast. You waste time checking the internet. Glad to see I know where your heart is, mate.
Oh, please. It's not wasting time. It's using time constructively. I'm multitasking. Let's face it, if you two are having a nice intellectual conversation, I'm just sitting here going, well, I got nothing to contribute to this conversation. Might as well make my time useful.
No doubt.
Anyway, so yeah, as I said, we have no emails this week, so... In a way, that pretty much wraps up the show, but before I go, I have to ask, since Evergreen is a brony like myself, who is your favourite?
Do I have to?
Yep.
This is the bane of being a brony, isn't it?
Yep.
Always getting asked, who's your best brony? Who's the best brony? Who's the best brony? And then brace yourself. Hopefully not being hit by a rocket launcher. But if I have to choose... I'll say Twilight Sparkle.
Not so bad. I was expecting worse.
Worse? I mean, who could be worse, really?
Trixie.
The great and powerful Trixie? You kidding? She must be the best pony ever. Implicitly.
I don't mind Trixie. Though, just to be, as a fair way, but yeah. But in all comparisons, I just had to ask. I know it would have annoyed you a little bit, so that's why I done it. Yay! Anyway, we are getting close to the hour mark, so I mean, we have, as I said, things should be back to normal. So it'll probably be like a week before we record next time. Now I haven't, because I've only had 3 days. I have not had my chance to get my hands on a guest star. But I'll tell you what, during this week, as soon as I find out who my next guest star is going to be, I'll post a notice on Steam so you can all go, I can email the guest star this week. Hooray. So it'll be a good week before we get the guests, before we'll have another recording. So I'll probably record like next Wednesday or Thursday. So you have like a good, like when we air on Friday, a good like 3 or 4 days to email in. And you'll probably have notification of who the guest star is by Friday, because when I put the announcement out for, hey, look, it's been uploaded to YouTube on Friday. I'll probably include a small note as who next week's guest star is. If not, look down the YouTube comments. I'll write it down there anyway. So, it'll be down there.
Oh my God. Picture of Gary Oldman as Gordon Freeman.
Let me look. That's the same one. It's the spy beating the soldiers again.
No, I didn't post anything. I was looking at myself. Although this one's relevant to the conversation.
Oh, great. How dare you! Oh, how dare you! Oh, that's it. You're fired.
Hey, fun fact though, that's pretty much exactly the game idea that I was telling you about.
I said you're fired.
And let's face it, it makes perfect sense. He thinks he's covering them in rainbows. Isn't that sweet?
This is like the pony level in Diablo 3. Except worse, except way worse.
Classic.
Looks like nobody can escape this fire.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so thank you for coming on and being our special guest star and talking that game this week, Mr. Evergreen.
Gentlemen.
Yeah, keep dreaming. Wheatley's better, sorry.
Hey.
I wasn't aware it was a contest.
I know, but I'm just picking on Evergreen because I can.
But did you know that I was in fact not a spy all along?
Dramatic plot twist.
Then what are you?
Well, I am the son of the announcer. Yep. She abandoned me 20 years ago. During that fateful day when she was, announcing for 2/4. Then she had a labor right there. They had to take me away. I never saw her again.
No comment.
I have no idea what just happened.
I think we lost him. Quick, someone get a surgeon. Quick. Click.
Wow, I am that fun. But yeah, it was a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and spending an hour having how shall we say, an hour of insanity with us?
Random conversations like that.
It was insane than I thought it would be. But, the insanity is there.
We do have to keep a level of professionalism because we are doing a public show, but, between you and me, it could be a lot worse. But I have to hold back for everyone else's sake.
No doubt.
For the sake of the sanity of the average viewer.
Yeah, basically, they couldn't handle it, could they?
But then again, what would be considered an average viewer for this community?
Quite true.
He brings up a good point. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. This is Loopy Legend. He's insane sidekick, Dr. Wheatley.
Oh, stretching is good.
Yeah, that's what he says. And our special guest star, Mr. Evergreen. Thank you very much.
A friendship has been detected.
Great. And they say friendship is magic on this show. Great.
Me or him, and I pay your salary. Make your decision.
Someone save me, please. I'll see you next week, ladies and gentlemen. Caramba.